Hey folks, Matthew Lanigan here with BayWa RE. We're just going to give it another 2 minutes or so. We'll see people are still logging in and we'll be right back with you. Thanks so much. Hey folks, Matthew Lanigan here again with BayWa RE. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer here at BayWa. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn a little bit about the SolarEdge product here with us today. Just a couple of housekeeping notes first. This will be recorded, so it will come out in the February newsletter for you all. If you'd like a copy earlier, please just reach out to one of your sales reps. We will be taking questions, so you can just put those in the bottom right corner. We'll do our best to answer those as we go. Continuing education is a big part of the culture here at BayWa, so we're happy to extend that outside of our staff and to our customers as well. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Michelle Spina. She's the Sales Education Manager with SolarEdge, and she'll be helping us out on some of the new Resi products with SolarEdge.
Thanks, Matthew. It's really happy to be here with this group and really good group of people here today. As Matthew said, we are going to be answering questions throughout, and so please put in the questions box any questions you have. I want to make it interactive today. My real priority is to answer your questions first and foremost. So just as a little practice for ensuring everybody knows how to use the questions box, let's ask a question to this group. So the question I have is, shout out your region. So where are you actually calling in from today? I would love to hear the towns. Petersburg, okay, Edmonton, great. Looks like Mark, Gordon know how to use that chat box. Thanks so much. Red Deer, Nova Scotia. Okay, it looks like we have quite a few areas here. Thank you so much. Okay, it definitely looks like we know how to use the questions box. If you have anything throughout the conversation, or if there's anything top of mind right now that you want to make sure is answered, just throw it in that questions box, and we will make sure to answer all of those questions for you today. So what I really want to talk about today is what's new with SolarEdge Residential. Many of you have probably heard of the Energy Hub ecosystem, and I want to really ensure that this group knows all of the parts and pieces of that. And what's really great about our new products, including our battery, our EV charger, and what's kind of coming down the pipeline. So as I jump in, I want to just give a couple of things in terms of bragging rights here. So many people don't know how large SolarEdge actually is. So we are the #1 solar inverter company globally. We're in 133 countries. We have systems installed all throughout, over 2 million, about 2.5 million systems monitored worldwide now, both in residential and commercial. And we have 80,000 solar plus storage installations as well. So We have been an expert in the storage space for quite some time. One of the things that have happened in the last couple of months is we were actually added to the S&P 500 as well, which is a huge accolade that we're proud of over here at SolarEdge. A couple of additional fun facts here. The thing that really brought me over here, I've been in solar for about 12 years now. The thing that really got me excited about SolarEdge is they are not only an inverter and optimizer company anymore. They have expanded into many different avenues of smart energy. So of course, you know, here are optimizers, our inverters, both in residential and commercial. If you haven't seen our new Synergy series on the commercial side, this is what it looks like. We call it a 4-box essentially. And I think we're probably going to do a follow-up training on that as well. But the thing we're really excited about right now is our residential battery. We'll talk about that today. That has launched and is currently in the market. EV powertrain. So we have acquired a company that is building EV powertrains specifically for electric fleet vehicles. So that is a space that we're looking to expand. Uninterrupted power source. We have a huge division of UPS. So huge machines that enable places like hospitals and schools to have power in critical times. So that's kind of what an uninterrupted power source is. And then what's most exciting about the residential space are these smart energy management products. So EV chargers, smart switches, smart relays, smart energy hot water, that's really going to allow for whole home backup solutions in a very seamless way. And all of it's going to be monitored through our monitoring platform. And what I really want to talk about today is My SolarEdge. If you don't have My SolarEdge on your phone yet, it's that homeowner facing app. So we will discuss that as well. So Kokum is the company that we acquired to develop our battery solution. It was about three years ago that we acquired Kokum. They were already a top 5 global battery leader in the space, most well known for uninterrupted power sources, electric vehicle batteries, and they've been in the space for quite some time. So the good news here is we decided to acquire this company because we wanted to manage, develop our own battery and completely own the process from beginning to end. A part of that was ensuring that we had availability for our customers. And in ensuring that, we actually built a 2 gigawatt-hour battery manufacturing plant just for our residential battery in Korea that is now coming online. So we are anticipating to have about 200,000 batteries a year that we are deploying from that space every single year. So take a look at Kokum. They have a lot of videos on YouTube that are really cool. They're very well known for this plane that has a Kokum battery in it that's traveled around the world multiple times. They actually power all of the San Diego Zoo. So there are Kokum batteries all over the country, and we're very proud to now be Kokum by SolarEdge as we have acquired that company. All right, let's talk about Energy Hub ecosystem. So this is changing the dynamic of residential PV solar. So if this team knows, and I know that this group knows about selling PV, the thing that was most challenging for me in selling PV for 10 years was we were the ones to educate homeowners on their energy. We were the ones to educate homeowners on how to read their utility bill, what it meant, you know, and being able to understand the dynamic between solar and energy. We sold them a solar system, we walked away, and that's really when they got excited about their energy, right? And we weren't able to actually go back and sell them anything after that. So the Energy Hub actually changes that entire dynamic. The focus here is being able to sell higher contract values from the beginning with a more robust solution, but also the ability to go back to homeowners later as their energy appetite grows, so that we can sell them other products like batteries, EV chargers, expanding the system, other smart energy devices as their needs change. And so when we talk about the Energy Hub, it's really the inverter that we're talking about. And it does look like our standard PV only HD wave inverter, but it is kind of PV plus. So it has multiple ports on it to connect the other smart energy devices. All of us know that retrofitting batteries has been a challenge in the past, and this is helping us to really streamline that process and simplify it so that we can retrofit or attach batteries later on without any challenges. So let's take a look at what that whole ecosystem really looks like. So the Energy Hub is that inverter. It's fully flexible, allowing us to add things now or later, depending on what that homeowner needs. One of the really big points here is you can add up to 3 Energy Hubs on one backup interface and up to 3 Energy Bank batteries per Energy Hub. So quick math here, easy math. I'll ask the group another question. When we're talking about 3 Energy Hubs and 3 Energy Banks, what is the total potential of how many batteries we could potentially have on a house if we really need it? Gordon already knew, 9. Yes, so I never thought that a homeowner actually needed 9 batteries, but we did just install one in Palm Springs with 7 batteries. And so it's definitely a need that's happening in some areas. The backup interface, does anybody know what the backup interface in this system would do? If you know it, put it in the chat box. Okay, yep, I'm seeing a couple here. So the backup interface is a pretty simple thing. It is that transfer switch. Yep, Mark, good one. So this is actually disconnecting the home from the grid in a backup situation when we need it. This is also where, and this is kind of a nifty thing as well, is we are going to be able to, with a very simple firmware upgrade that's coming very soon, connect generators into this backup interface. So the interaction with a generator would be the battery depletes completely, that generator is automatically kicked on in order to take the slack of that energy need through a blackout scenario. So it's kind of an automatic turn on with a generator solution when connected into that backup interface. So that is a firmware upgrade that's happening in the next couple of months that you can be assured of if your homeowners are installing this product right now. Again, it's a firmware upgrade, so it's nothing that will need to happen with hardware if they want to connect that generator coming up. So one other piece here, as you see the Energy Hub platform, one of the huge advantages is we are taking a lot less space on the main service panel in a DC coupled solution when we're only connecting 1 Energy Hub and say 3 Energy Bank batteries per Energy Hub. Typically in an AC coupled battery scenario, you're taking up a breaker for every single battery you're adding, every single inverter you're adding, or every single PV option you're adding. And with the Energy Hub solution, because we're DC coupled, everything sits behind the inverter. And that inverter is the thing that's taking up breaker space. So you have the opportunity with a Energy Hub 7600 inverter, for example, to take up a 40 amp breaker with 3 energy banks if you really wanted to. So we are really able to save that space, avoid any electrical upgrades that you're typically having with a battery solution. I want to discuss the smart EV charger in more detail as we go, but this is a very simple upsell. So if your sales team is not as versed or potentially a little bit intimidated by the price of a battery, for example, the smart EV charger is a very simple add-on as kind of a gateway into the add-on space with solar. What's great about it as well is it's fully integrated into the solar system. So this is the only smart EV charger right now on the market that's integrated into the solar and can essentially charge directly from sunshine. About 80% of people that actually go with an electric vehicle currently want to charge at home and prefer charging at home. 2 out of 3 people that have actually gotten an electric vehicle purchased solar prior to getting an electric vehicle. So this is a really great, combination when we're talking about, an add-on product to our solar system. Additionally, when you're talking about adding additional PV or electric vehicles, you'll need additional PV. So we typically see about 3 kW additional solar needed to charge a standard electric vehicle in standard use cases. So this gives you the opportunity to expand that system as well as sell them an EV charger. These smart energy devices, relays, switches, sensors, sockets, this is what allows homeowners to remotely manage those heavier devices in a blackout scenario, or even in any scenario directly from the app. So if they want to turn on and off their air conditioner and they're not home, for example, they can do that with these smart energy devices. It's really a whole home management solution to ensure that they are saving and conserving their power. All right, so we talked about these add-ons. One additional thing I want to make sure everyone knows is that this Energy Hub inverter has a built-in RGM and consumption meter within it. So a lot of customers are standardizing on the Energy Hub, even if that homeowner doesn't go with a battery solution today, for the purpose of wanting to future-proof the home, number one, but also the fact that this has a built-in RGM and consumption meter already. So it's adding value to that product from the very beginning. RGM would be revenue grade meter. So essentially, in very simplest terms, revenue grade meter, what that solar is producing, consumption, what that home is using. So how many times does your homeowner give you a call after they go solar and say, hey, you told me I wasn't going to have a utility bill anymore. I still have a utility bill. My system must not be working. This RGM, revenue grade meter, and consumption monitoring allows that homeowner to actually see the interaction of how much their solar is producing, how much energy they're using. We're seeing consistently that homeowners use more energy after they go solar. And so this is avoiding that conversation with the homeowner when they see that they still have a utility bill, although they've only, added to their energy usage after they go solar. Smart EV charger we'll discuss, backup, interface, and battery. So in very simple terms here, if that homeowner needs a battery solution, always assume you're going to have a backup interface alongside it. Reason being, if that homeowner got installed with a battery but didn't have the backup interface, they wouldn't be able to disconnect from the grid and wouldn't have power in a blackout scenario. So they need that backup interface paired with the battery so that they can have power in a blackout scenario. And then this is what those smart energy add-ons will look like: relay, switches, things you can go back to homeowners and sell after the solar sale. Maybe it's in a slower season and you do a marketing campaign around adding smart energy add-ons to their home, utilizing your existing client base to really sell those products. So this is a scenario that we're seeing pretty often with this Energy Hub situation. I mentioned earlier that some people are standardizing on Energy Hub as their kind of standard PV inverter with the opportunity to connect products later. This is why. So maybe that homeowner is not ready for a battery today. They just want solar. That's all that they can really suffice right now for their home. They want to save a little on their utility bill. They don't know much about energy, and so they're a little overwhelmed with the conversation currently. You decide that PV plus Energy Hub is the best solution for that homeowner today. So maybe in year one, that homeowner becomes excited about energy. They're more savvy with their energy because, of course, after you go solar, you know more about your energy use, you understand it a bit better. You have that My SolarEdge app, so you're able to track your solar system. You as a sales rep can go back to that homeowner and sell them an energy bank at that point, right? So year one, you sell them the energy bank. Year three, maybe that homeowner decides they're going to get an electric vehicle. It's a great time to go back and sell them an EV charger, plus that 3 kW additional solar they will need to charge that car. Year five, you can go back and sell those smart energy devices because they need whole home management. They're looking for a whole home backup solution. So you sell them a second energy bank, which is the battery. And in generally, year 7 through year 10, that's really on average when homeowners actually purchase a new home, move out of their home. So you have sold the value of this whole ecosystem to this homeowner initially, previously on their other home. You now have the opportunity to sell them the whole ecosystem on a new house. So as opposed to having to rely a lot on referrals, a lot on lead generation, This gives you the opportunity to hold on to your customers for an extended duration and sell them other products as their appetite changes with their energy needs. So that's the whole solution. That's really the ecosystem, having the opportunity to sell the products today that the homeowner wants and needs, and then sell them products later as they grow with their energy appetite. Just asking this group and looking at this, is there any products right now? I know that some people may sell other products, HVAC, windows, roofing, etc. Are there products now that you're utilizing this add-on model for? Is there a situation that you go back to homeowners with an add-on? You don't necessarily have to tell me that which products, but just wanted to gauge with this this team if there are kind of an ecosystem or add-on product strategy or method that your company is already using. Oh, great, greenhouses. That's a really good one. So for customers or for team members who are already doing this type of add-on solution, these are a very seamless thing to add on to that type of portfolio. If your team is well versed in those add-on products, this could be a great opportunity for you to start getting into these. So let's talk about those product specs. So I want to dive into the components a little bit more of each of these products. Again, here's the Energy Hub inverter. So again, this has a built-in revenue grade and consumption meter within it. It has a built-in cell card within it as well. And this is the inverter that will manage the battery, EV chargers, and smart energy management. So if your homeowners are asking for batteries, this is the inverter with SolarEdge that you're going to use. You may have previously used our StoreEdge inverter. This is taking the place of that. So the Energy Hub is the inverter that you're going to use. And when you purchase from BayWa, they have this on their price sheet, and it will be called Energy Hub. These are the sizes that we have available. And really it's the almost the full suite that we would have with the HD Wave. Currently right now, the 7.6 is the most popular solution with this inverter. Reason being is it's really hitting that sweet spot of system sizes right now. Something exciting about the Energy Hub when we're talking about a battery solution, does anybody know how much you can oversize an Energy Hub when you have a battery connected to it? Renee knows, yeah, Alex, 200%. So when we're talking about this 7.6, we can actually put a 15 kW on a 7.6 inverter, taking up minimal breaker space and giving us that range that we really need to meet a lot of customer needs. Another thing about this, the Energy Hub inverter, is when you have two batteries on that 7.6, 10 or 11.4, you have 10 kW continuous power for the battery. So while when you have one battery, it's going to have 5 kW continuous power, you don't need to add a second inverter in order to get 10 kW. You can actually use one inverter and we'll have 10 kW of power. Okay, so very, very great solution there. Renee has a really good question here. Where's the threshold to make the jump from a 7.6 to an 11.4, practically speaking? Let's talk about it. So if you are 200% oversizing on an Energy Hub inverter, best case scenario for that homeowner, reason why we can oversize is because all of that energy that may normally be clipped is being thrown into the battery, because it's on the DC side of the inverter. So you can actually use that excess energy to charge the battery. If that homeowner is not discharging on a regular basis, so if that homeowner is just storing that energy and leaving it stored and not discharging, they don't get blackouts often, or they're not using that battery for self-consumption, that energy that would normally be stored into the battery, that's the excess power, will be lost to some extent because your battery is already charged, right? So if that, it really depends on, is that homeowner going to discharge that battery and they can use that excess energy to charge their battery on a regular basis? Or does it make more sense to oversize the inverter to say 155% and really just use the battery as a normally charged, hey, it's staying charged the whole time, and only being used for emergency situations. So additionally, if you are talking about a limit to the size of space in a main service panel that you will need, you may want to oversize that inverter a little more as opposed to moving over to an 11.4. But I would say the good rule of thumb is on a 7.6, if that homeowner is not able to take advantage of that excess clipped energy into the battery because they're not discharging regularly, I would stick to that standard 155 rule with the Energy Hub inverter, and that homeowner can still take advantage of the increased production there. So if we're doing 155 on a 7.6, that will put us at what? I'm doing a quick math here. Everyone knows 11.7, right? So if you're going up to an 11.7 on that 7.6, then that I would say the peak, if that homeowner can't take advantage of that excess energy into the battery, and then you can switch over to either a 10 or 11.4, because of course the 10 can go up to 155 as well. Curtis has a good question here too. How many batteries, how do you calculate how many batteries you need? We're going to get into the battery right after this, so I'll make sure we cover that definitely. Any other questions about the Energy Hub inverter specifically before we move on? Okay, so let's talk about that Energy Bank. So Energy Bank is the battery that we are currently, it's our current solution. It's a 9.7 kilowatt hour. And that is the 5 kW continuous power. Again, 10 kW continuous power with 2 batteries on 1 inverter. 9.7 usable capacity at 100% depth of discharge. So this is considered a 10 kilowatt hour battery. There is a little bit of reserve that's always kept in that battery in order to kind of maintain it and start it up. We don't want it to be completely dead. So this is 9.7 kilowatt hour usable capacity. The thing that really differentiates, a DC coupled solution and the Energy Bank battery is the exceptional efficiency. So SolarEdge already has exceptional efficiency on our inverters, and our batteries are really no different. So a 93.3 system efficiency, and I will show how that stands up to the competition in just a second as well. The industry leading 10-year warranty. So there's something different here about the warranty as it compares to other products. So I'm sure a lot of this team has heard 10-year warranty at 70% capacity retention. Many times you're going to hear a limit on cycles. We have unlimited cycles. So if that homeowner wanted to utilize that battery every single night because they wanted to, essentially be their own power plant, utilize the energy from that battery and then charge it back up in the daytime, they're able to do that an unlimited amount of times within that 10-year span, and they will still be covered under warranty. So we talked about the 3 battery stack per inverter. That's going to multiply your power and capacity. So 10 kW power on 1 inverter and capacity, up to 30 kilowatt hours capacity on 1 inverter. It can be wall or floor mounted and indoor or outdoor. So the temperature rating for this is 14 degrees to 122 degrees. So in an outdoor situation, if it gets under 14 degrees, it's something to consider that we probably would want to put it inside. But we do have flexibility when it comes to wall or floor mounted solutions. It is an 8-inch clearance. In most cases, some jurisdictions or utilities require a little bit more clearance, but minimal clearance in terms of ventilation from the ground, for example. So you don't need much space inside when it comes to this battery. Oh, Gordon, gosh, thank you for reminding me. When I say 14 degrees to 122, I mean Fahrenheit. And I know that we're weird over here and we're not using Celsius, and I apologize for that. But yeah, that's Fahrenheit. Thank you for that, that reminder. Gordon, if you could do a quick math on what that is Celsius, bonus points for sure. And I'll definitely, okay, -10 to 50. Woohoo, thanks, Gordon. So -10 to 50 degrees Celsius. So this is the floor mounted solution. It sits on this little rack. And when we're talking about stacking these batteries on the ground, it's bolted to the ground on this rack. But you can think about the batteries stacking one behind the other. So it's taking less space on the ground when we're talking about ground options than our competition. So it will be stacked kind of one behind the other in a very streamlined and concise way. And again, we can put up to 9 if we really need to. Okay, so let's talk about how many batteries we need. It's kind of a simple calculation. Good news is too, we have an estimator tool on our website, on the homeowner page, if anyone's interested in messing around with that. But really, the rule of thumb that we like to think about is one battery solution is really 8 to 10 essential loads. We call it, partial home backup, 8 to 10 essential loads. 2 batteries would be those 8 to 10 essential loads plus a couple heavier loads. And a lot of times we're seeing homeowners wanting things like well pumps that are on a 2 battery solution. We can also put portable AC or heaters on a 2 battery solution. That could be one option there as well. And then when we're talking about central HVAC, larger HVAC solutions or really heavy loads, we're talking about a 3 battery solution or a 4 battery solution. So that's really the rule of thumb that we're thinking of. One battery is going to cover about 8 to 10 essential loads in the house. All right. So I wanted to show the difference between the DC coupled in terms of efficiency. This is a great selling point for homeowners because the DC coupled solution, especially we know in battery systems, it is an investment to get a battery solution. So homeowners many times want that most efficient system possible. And homeowners like to actually see this visual. And it's something that you can use in the home to really illustrate this. So in a DC coupled solution, that PV system and the battery is feeding into the inverter, which is allowing for only one conversion of energy before we can use it into the house. In an AC coupled solution, a lot of our competition like Tesla, Enphase, you're going to see an AC coupled solution. And essentially the PV system and the battery work independently from one another. And for that reason, we will need 3 conversions of energy before we can actually use that energy in the house. I like to tell homeowners, it's kind of like throwing your jeans in the washing machine. Every time you wash those jeans, you're going to dilute that color a little bit. That's what's happening here with the energy. You're diluting the energy every time you have to convert it. And it's causing about a 6 to 7 efficiency difference when it comes to the overall system. So this is a great benefit when we're talking about our battery solution when compared to others. We talked about this a bit, 200% oversizing. So this is just an illustration of, the energy that would normally be clipped being thrown into the battery and being able to charge that battery on that excess PV. Generally, you would be in a situation where that energy would be lost in an AC coupled solution because that battery is sitting on the AC side of the system. Okay, let's talk about the smart EV charger. Has anybody here sold a smart EV charger yet or added it to your proposal on that side? Or here's a question, does anybody have an electric vehicle? Yeah, looks like a couple people have electric vehicles. Okay, so the EV charger, again, a very easy upsell when it comes to an add-on product. This smart EV charger is considered a level 2 charger. So it charges about 7 times faster than it would be plugging into a standard wall outlet. When you're charging a car in a standard wall outlet, it's generally taking about 19 to 25 hours, depending on the charger or depending on the car. So this is charging about 6 to 7 hours, level 2 charger. It has an industry best warranty of 5 years. And the most important part of this is it's fully compatible with all electric vehicles. So a lot of chargers on the market right now are specific to the car that you have. And this is compatible with all EVs. It's remotely managed through my SolarEdge. I'll show a couple clips on what that remote management looks like. But this is especially engaging for homeowners when we're talking about the management of their whole ecosystem of products, because it's through one app, solar, battery, and the EV charger. So in terms of compatibility of the electric vehicle charger 2, I wanted to make sure this team also knew that there's really 3 options. Best case scenario, Energy Hub integration, where it's wired directly into the Energy Hub. This is at time of PV sale. That homeowner wants to go with a PV plus an EV charger. Best case scenario would be to sell them an Energy Hub with a EV charger fully integrated into that system. It allows them to have solar boost mode, and they can charge directly from the sun, from excess PV energy. Another option though, if your homeowner wants to retrofit, so they have a standard HD wave inverter, they have a PV only inverter that they've gotten in the past, you have the opportunity to integrate this also into the inverter, and all you would need is a small adapter called a solar boost kit. It is just a breaker essentially that we're putting into the inverter, and we can fully integrate that into an HD wave. And then you have the option as well to be a standalone EV charger. So say that homeowner doesn't even want PV, but they want an EV charger. They have the opportunity to integrate this into their main service panel like every other EV charger on the market, or they can plug it into a 240 volt outlet on the wall. So that is a solution that they could also do with that EV charger, and it's fully tracked on my SolarEdge also. Okay, so does anybody here have my SolarEdge already downloaded on your phone? If you don't, this is the homeowner facing app. Highly recommend getting this on your phone because it will allow you to fully interact with homeowners at the time of consultation and show them what their system will actually look like from the app. So you don't need a login for this, by the way. So if you download my SolarEdge on your phone today, there is a button on there called Demo Sites, and you're able to take a look at some demo sites that have this full interaction. They're real sites. Most of them are our employees that allow us to interact with homeowners on this. So as you see, it'll show what that solar production is, how much battery has charged, where their car is charged at. This is where the smart energy devices are going to come in. Once we get those relays and switches, they can easily turn on and off those devices. This second page is going to show that system production and consumption. So as you see on this homeowner site, they're actually producing more than they're consuming, which is great news. And that homeowner can track and gauge that with their system. The My SolarEdge app also follows you throughout the day. So as you see, it's turning dusk outside here in this image. It'll show that battery's fully charged, the EV's fully charged. And then as we move into the nighttime mode, if that homeowner has set up their battery to discharge at night, it will then discharge, and it'll show them that the battery is discharging, during a storm or during a backup scenario. For the EV charger, this is how it would look in terms of scheduling on your app. So you can schedule the charge of that charger. You can keep your car plugged in, and that charge won't happen until that schedule happens. And this is that solar boost mode. So you're able to charge directly from the sun. It's going to charge your car faster if you're using that excess solar power through solar boost mode. And a couple of other features just based on our battery is 2 things. One, the homeowner will actually get a pop-up that tells them they are backed up in backup mode. One of the challenges we saw with homeowners initially that had backup solutions is they didn't know their power actually went out. Their neighborhood was out of power, but they still had power, and they would drain that battery quickly because they were not conserving energy. We wanted to make sure that we had given them a notification that they were in backup mode and gave them an estimate of how much time they had left based on their current energy usage in the house. The second thing that's pretty interesting is weather guard. So this is just activated on my SolarEdge, and this will take all of the satellites, the weather satellites in the area, and predict severe weather before it happens, so that it automatically charges the battery to full capacity before that storm hits. And it'll notify that homeowner if that's happening. This is something homeowners can turn on and off if they want within their app, but it's been very helpful in places that have severe weather, so that that battery is charged in case of an emergency situation. Okay, so looking at the questions here. Okay, so Andrew has a good question here. Are we able to essentially derate the main breaker in order to fit? So again, this is many times based on the actual jurisdiction, but definitely in most cases, derating the main breaker in order to fit the solar is perfectly fine. So that should definitely work out. Is SolarEdge planning for EV to grid charger inverter capability? It's a really good question. It's definitely something that we are looking into. So currently, right now, it's kind of at the mercy of the car manufacturers at this point, but we do want to be a part of that. So keep in touch and look for that in the future, because that's definitely something we want to do. Backup interface specs. You know what, Curtis, it's a good question. Let me unshare my screen real quick. I do have those specs that I can very quickly pick up. Okay, let's see. I don't know why I took out my backup interface slide, but it is a very important thing. So let's talk about that. Okay, here it is. Make sure you're seeing the right one. Yep, okay. So here's our backup interface. Again, controls disconnection of the grid. It's rated for 200 amp service side connection. The auto transformer is built in here. The energy meter is built in here. This allows us to avoid the 120% rule, essentially, because we're able to avoid main panel upgrades through this, this backup interface. And essentially, this is the connection and control unit. So this is the brains of the system. One other thing that's not on here right now is, oh, here it is. So if you have a separate meter main scenario, a lot of times what you'll want to do is you can actually completely back up the entire main service panel without a separate generation panel or a separate backup service load, essentially. So if you have a separate meter main scenario in a backup solution, you can just simply connect this to the meter, connect this to the main service panel without creating a generation panel. In a combo meter main scenario, you would still need that backup sub panel, essentially. And again, one last thing is this is where we're going to be able to connect that the generator support as well. Yeah, so Andrew, that question about can your EV be used as backup battery for your EV charger? So that's kind of the EV to grid capability we mentioned. So currently right now, that's not something that is in place and not something that's actually in place with most car manufacturers. And so that is something that we need to be compatible with the car manufacturing for as well. So something that is a future state. Okay, service entrance rated. So this is the service side connection. I can also send over the spec sheet to this group. Let me bring that up online and put it in the chat box, the actual spec sheet for the backup interface. You can find that on our website, and I will put that in there for us. As we're doing that, Jeff, let's see. It sounds like Jeff is a Tesla purchaser. So Tesla, yeah, AC coupled battery. Many times what we're running into with Teslas in a lot of cases is electrical upgrade is necessary. So as a DC coupled solution, many times you're able to avoid the electrical upgrade that is necessary for a Tesla battery. And so that might be an advantage in some cases for your customers. Let me get the backup interface. Any other questions as we are wrapping up here, and I will get all of the spec sheets for us on this. All right, here's our data sheet. I'll throw it in the chat for us. There you are, and you can find all of our spec sheets on SolarEdge.com as well. There are a couple of people that are asking specific questions about Canada, and I think that I answered them, but if I did not, I'm going to run through these questions right after this and make sure that the RSM specific to your region can reach out to you about some of these. Yeah, so here's a good question. You mentioned the use of the battery during an outage, but can the battery also energize the house during nighttime or cloudy weather, even if the grid is still available? So yeah, the interaction with the battery, many times we are utilizing the battery for situations for what we call self-consumption. So you can definitely use it at nighttime, essentially when there is no PV power being utilized. You can set up on the app that you want to utilize it for self-consumption. So you, meaning the homeowner. So the homeowner has the opportunity to set up their backup reserve levels. So say, for example, they set up their backup reserve level to 30%. That would say, I want to keep 30% of my battery for emergency purposes at all times, and I want to be able to discharge 70% of it in the use of nighttime or weather that is inclement weather, and the PV is not doing the home justice in terms of consumption. So you can use it for self-consumption purposes, and the homeowner can be the one to activate that self-consumption through My SolarEdge. Okay, Matthew, I think I answered most of these questions that came in. I am going to reach out to a couple of you one-on-one to make sure I answer your Canada-specific questions and get you connected with the Canada RSM over here.
Thank you, Michelle. Really appreciate you taking the time to help educate the customer base here, and thank you customers for attending as well. Just a couple of notes. We do have our new web shop up and running, so if you're looking for your prices, specs, warranty, install documents, inventory levels, they are all there. So if you don't have an account, I encourage you all to get set up on the web shop. This was recorded, so we will share it in the March newsletter. If you need a copy earlier, please just let us know. And if you have additional questions, please reach out to your sales reps. Thanks again, everybody. And thank you again, Michelle and SolarEdge. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Matthew. Thanks for the time.